Hunyat Ishk Edine Ado Diendine. Welcome back to another episode of Shanclen Shadow Productions. But wait, this isn't a normal video here at Shanclen Shadow Productions. This is the beginning of the audio series here at Shanclen Shadow Productions. And I wanted to introduce this series in October, spooky season. There are no visuals, there is no footage. Just your ears and your imagination and the voices of the land. This will be the first audio story on my channel. These stories are my own creation inspired by real events on our lands, but some details have been changed to protect the sacredness of what actually happened. The tale you're about to hear comes from deep within the res, a haunted place far beyond the wash, and a death spirit that still walks there under the cold moon. So sit back, turn off the lights, and listen closely, because when you listen to the land, sometimes it listens back, and the shadows come forward. Halloween on the res has a way of changing everything. Not just the wind or the chill in the air, but the way the land seems to watch you. 4 teens, Cody, Marissa, Breon, and Shania, climbed into Cody's rattling blue Ford pickup truck. The engine coughed and the tires crunched gravel. The dust rose behind them like ghosts following their trail. They were heading far past the last homes, past the fences and beyond the lights of the freeway. Cody grinned, trying to keep the mood light.
You sure you're ready for this?
Marissa adjusted her jacket, staring into the dark desert.
It's just an old Hogan, Cody. How scary could it be?
Breon let out a nervous laugh.
Your uncle swore the place was cursed, said a medicine man died there, and his spirit never left.
Shania smirked.
Or maybe your uncle just needed a story to scare kids. Don't tell me you actually believe in.
Even as she said it, she kept glancing through the windshield. The land looked different tonight, darker than usual. Sharper in its shadows, the stars overhead were cold and almost metallic. The wind shifted and carried an odd scent. Sage, ash, and something rotten underneath. Hours passed as they drove through the washes and dried creek beds. The moon peeked out from behind the fast-moving clouds, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch out toward them. At one point, a broken windmill creaked in the distance, its tail clanking like a warning bell. Finally, Cody slowed the truck down.
There,
he said. At first, it seemed like another dark shape, but as the headlights cut through the night, the Hogan emerged. Collapsed logs, blackened by fire, half buried in sand. A rusted metal pot lay near the doorway, and a smoke hole above yawned wide, staring like an empty eye socket. The wind had stopped. Even the desert seemed to be holding its breath. Marissa swallowed and pulled out her phone, the flashlight trembling in her hands.
Well, here goes.
As they approached, the air grew heavier, not cold, but thicker. Each step felt like walking through water. Then they heard it. Soft, wet crying. Faint, mournful, and impossibly close.
Maybe it was just the wind.
Cody suggested, though his voice wavered. But it wasn't the wind. The sound moved, coming from inside the Hogan. The door creaked open on its own, and then the smell hit them instantly. Wet earth, smoke, and something sour beneath it. Shania stepped back. Maybe we should. Marissa shook her head, stepping forward.
If it's a spirit, it already knows we're here.
Inside, their flashlights cut through clouds of dust. The walls were blackened by smoke, with faded pictures hung crookedly on the walls, faces curling with age. Each one had its eyes scratched out. And on the walls, hundreds of handprints, small, large and overlapping, pressed deep into the wood. Some of them seemed fresh, as if they were pressed on there yesterday. Brian's voice trembled.
They're moving, aren't they?
A whisper brushed past Marissa's ear.
Leave before he keeps you too.
She spun. No one was there. From the shadows, a shape unfolded. Tall, thin, and wrong. Its head was a horse's skull. Long, hollow, and smoke curling from its eye sockets. The skull shimmered, not fully solid, shifting between spirit and bone. Its body was draped in something that moved like water and human skin. A cloak of darkness threaded with faint glowing faces and hands pressing out from the inside as if were trapped, whispering in pain. Every breath froze the air. Every step blackened the ground. When it spoke, the voices not coming from its mouth, but from 1,000 souls trapped within.
You've come to take their place.
The door slammed behind them, and the fire pit in the center of the Hogan ignited with blue flames, cold and flickering. The handprints on the walls twisted, reaching out toward the teens. Marissa, Brian, and Shania tried to escape, but Cody shoved them out of the way first, splitting open the door with his shoulder. They stumbled into the desert night, and they ran without looking back. When they reached a truck, the death spirit stood in the doorway. It didn't move, it didn't chase. It watched as the smoke curled from its hollow skull, its robe of faces whispering in the wind. By morning, all 14 discovered black marks on their bodies, dark, vein-like streaks running along their arms, legs, and torsos, faint at first, but pulsing as if it were alive. Whispers haunted their dreams, hoofbeats followed them in the distance. Every shadow seemed longer, every wind felt sharper. No one spoke for the drive back. The only sound was the rattling of the truck and the cold wind rushing through the cracked windows. By the edge of town, Cody pulled over to an old gas station. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead.
What was that?
Brian muttered, pacing.
I swear I saw its face.
Marissa shook her head.
Don't talk about it. Just don't.
But she kept staring at the horizon. Far off in the desert, a faint orange spark of light flickered and then vanished. Over the next few nights, the hauntings didn't stop. Shania heard soft hoofbeats outside of her window. Bare, slow steps that never touched the ground properly. Dust swirled, but no figure was visible. Brian became withdrawn. His speech faltered. Every night, the black marks on his skin seemed to pulse. Marissa's ankle darkened with the vein-like marks that throbbed faintly in the night. Every time she slept, she heard whispers calling her name. Later, Cody and Marissa met at a canyon road one night. The desert lay open, pale moonlight reflecting off the sand and stone.
It's following us.
Cody said, voice tight.
It's not done.
Marissa's voice trembled.
It's calling me at night. My dreams.
Her phone buzzed suddenly, and a new video appeared with no sender. The footage showed the Hogan lit by a blue light, and 4 figures stood in a circle, and at the doorway, the death spirit. Its skull tilted, with smoke curling like breath. Its robe of faces moved, wailing slightly.
The circle never ends. It only returns.
The truck flickered and the engine sputtered, and then hoofbeats. Soft at first, then louder and closer. The spirit emerged in the desert road ahead, long limbs bending impossibly, and the skull tilting as if examining them. The air froze and the ground darkened. The whispers of the trapped souls echoed in the night. Cody whispered, "Don't move," but Marissa could barely breathe.
It's saying my name.
In the static of the radio, faint and broken, they heard it again. Their own voices calling her name. Cody slammed the ignition and the truck roared to life, gravel flying as they sped down the desert road. In the rearview mirror, the spirit didn't chase. It raised one arm in the air, and the wind started to scream around it. The whispers of the trapped souls filled the night air. When Marissa looked at the window beside her, she saw her reflection, but it wasn't hers. It was the spirit's, the hollow horse skull, the robe of faces, staring at her from inside. By dawn, they had reached town. Cody didn't speak, and Marissa sat on her bed, staring at her ankle. Determined to end it, the teens sought help from Joe Yazzie, an elder medicine man able to walk between worlds. Joe Yazzie listened to their story and saw black marks etched into their skin.
The spirit. It is bound to the circle of the dead.
He said,
It will not let you go, but we can try to fight, though some may not survive. My older brother, who is also a medicine man, tried to fight this beast, but fell to its power as well.
Under the pale moon, the teens and Joe Yazzie returned to the Hogan. But as they pull up to the Hogan, Joe Yazzie had already begun the sacred rituals, singing his songs, singing his chants of prayers and protections for himself and his friends. Joe Yazzie jumped out of the truck and began the sacred ritual. Stones, corn, sage, cedar, and prayers in the old tongue. The death spirit appeared, towering, horse skull tilted, robes of faces withering, its breath froze the air, the earth blackened beneath its hooves. The battle had begun. Smoke twisted into serpents, voices screamed, the ground quaked. Joe Yazzie threw cedar and prayer fire, chanting louder, summoning unseen protective spirits. The teens huddled, the black marks on their skin flaring, and shadows from the spirit clawing toward them. For a moment, the ceremony held, but the spirit was too strong. Its hollow gaze locked onto the teens, and the black marks pulsed violently, veins crawling across her skin like fire through flesh. Joe Yazzie stepped between them, chanting with all his strength, Go back to the other side, I commanded. The spirit lunged. Flames and smoke erupted. The cedar burned black. The voices inside screamed, pulling at the teens' souls. And then, silence. No one left that night. The truck lay overturned. The black marks glowed faintly on their bodies. The desert wind carried only whispers. Far beyond the wash, the hoofbeats began again, slow and steady. The death spirit had claimed its circle. If you've made it this far, you're still among the living. If tonight's tale gave you chills, let me know in the comments, and we will continue this journey, one story at a time. And until next time, Shadow Warriors, keep your fire strong, your prayers close, and remember, some roads on the res were never meant to be traveled after sunset. Hogan.